The 10 most successful businesses of all time and why they were successful. Hey, it's Matt Haycox here, and today we're talking about the 10 most successful businesses of all time. Now, these aren't just companies, they're empires that reshaped industries and influenced the way that we live. From ancient giants to modern tech innovators, these businesses have one thing in common. They clearly mapped out their vision and they nailed their execution. So stick around and I'll break down not only who these businesses are and why they were so successful, but also what we can learn from the stories so that you can go and implement it in your business too. Business number one, the East India Tea Company. So we're starting out with the East India Tea Company, which was founded in 1600. Now this was no ordinary company. It was the first real multinational corporation with its own army, its own navy, and its own currency. At its peak, it controlled over half the world's trade, dealing in spices, silk, tea, and more. Imagine Amazon, but with battleships. So what were the keys to its success? Number one, monopoly power. The British Crown granted the company exclusive rights to trade in the East, essentially eliminating all competition. Secondly, it had political influence. It wasn't just a business, it shaped geopolitics, influencing the rise and fall of empires. And thirdly, it had adaptability. When demand shifted, they pivoted from spices to textiles and later to tea. What's the lesson? Dominate your niche, secure partnerships, and be prepared to adapt to market changes. A little anecdote about this business, by the way. By 1800, the company was collecting taxes from over 10 million Indians. This funded the massive trade empire. At one point, the company's private army was twice the size of the British Army and had over 260,000 soldiers under its command. Company number two, the Ford Motor Company. Now, Henry Ford didn't invent the car, but he did revolutionize how cars were made. Before Ford, cars were a luxury item only for the wealthy. But by introducing the assembly line, Ford was able to mass produce the Model T at a fraction of the cost, and this made cars affordable for the average person. So what were the keys to success? Number one, innovation in production. The assembly line cut manufacturing time drastically from 12 hours to just 90 minutes per car. Number two, accessibility. Ford's mission was clear: I will build a car for the great multitude. This vision made cars a staple of American life. And number three, employee welfare. Ford very famously introduced a $5 a day wage, which doubled the average salary at the time. Now, while this was controversial, it reduced turnover and it created a really loyal workforce. Lessons for you and your businesses: simplify production, focus on affordability, and invest in your people. And a little story about Ford: by 1920, half of the cars on the American roads were Ford Model Ts. Henry Ford's vision wasn't just about selling cars, it was about creating a middle class that could actually afford them. Company number three, I'm sure this is one that you've all tasted, Coca Cola. Now, Coca Cola began as a medicinal tonic invented by a man called John Pemberton, who was a pharmacist in Atlanta. It was actually originally marketed as a cure for headaches and tiredness. But the real genius came from another man, Asa Candler, who bought the formula, focused on branding, and turned Coca Cola into the world's most recognizable drink. So what were some of the keys to success? Number one, relentless marketing. Coca-Cola's advertising campaigns, like Drink Coca-Cola, embedded the brand into American culture. Number two, consistency. The secret formula has barely changed a drop in over a century, which ensures a consistent taste worldwide. Number three, global expansion. During World War II, Coca-Cola promised to supply every soldier with a Coke for 5 cents. This created brand loyalty amongst millions of returning veterans. What lessons can you take home from this? Create a product that people trust and invest in unforgettable branding. A little anecdote about Coca-Cola: Coke's iconic bottle was actually originally designed to stand out in the dark to ensure that people recognize it everywhere. Company number four, Microsoft. Now, Bill Gates and Paul Allen started Microsoft with a very bold vision: a computer on every desk and in every home. Now, they didn't just ride the tech wave, these guys created it. Microsoft's early deal to provide the operating system for IBM PCs cemented their dominance in the industry. Keys to success for them? Strategic partnerships. Partnering with IBM gave Microsoft instant credibility and reach. Two, product evolution. From MS-DOS to Windows, Microsoft has continually improved its offering, ensuring that it stays ahead. And number three, aggressive growth. By the 1990s, Microsoft was the absolute undisputed leader in operating systems and office software. Lessons to use in your businesses? Secure early partnerships and keep innovating to maintain dominance. In 1995, Bill Gates famously pivoted Microsoft to focus on the internet. He said, "The internet is a tidal wave. It changes the rules." And it's that foresight that's kept Microsoft at the top. Company number five, Amazon. Jeff Bezos originally started Amazon as an online bookstore operating out of his garage, but today it's the largest online retailer in the world, offering everything from groceries to cloud computing services. What are some of its keys to success? Number one, customer obsession. Bezos' mantra has always been start with the customer and work backwards. Number two, relentless innovation. From Prime shipping to Alexa, Amazon is constantly redefining convenience. And number three, scalability. Amazon Web Services became a separate billion-dollar business by leveraging their existing infrastructure. Lessons to take home: obsess over customer experience and diversify revenue streams. A little anecdote, Bezos' initial business plan was actually called the Everything Store, which showed where his ambition was at right from the start. Company number six, Apple. Apple started in Steve Jobs' garage, and today it's the first company to hit a $3 trillion valuation. From the Macintosh to the iPhone, Apple's redefined technology as both functional and beautiful. So what are some of its keys to success? Number one, design innovation. Apple products aren't just tools, they're status symbols. Number two, ecosystem. The App Store, iCloud, and iOS. These all lock customers into a seamless experience. Number three, marketing. Remember 1984 and think different? Apple's campaigns are absolutely legendary. Lessons for you to take home: marry innovation with design and create a product ecosystem that customers can never leave. Steve Jobs once said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower, and Apple has embodied this philosophy ever since. Company number seven, McDonald's. McDonald's started as a single drive-in restaurant in San Bernardino, California, run by the McDonald's brothers. But the man who made it the empire it is today was Ray Kroc, a milkshake machine salesman who saw its potential and turned it into a global franchise phenomenon. So what are some of McDonald's key to success? Number one, their franchise model. Kroc standardized operations, ensuring every McDonald's worldwide has the same taste, the same speed, and the same quality. Number two, their real estate strategy. Instead of just selling burgers, Kroc turned McDonald's into one of the largest real estate holders in the world, leasing prime locations to their franchisees. And number three, brand consistency. Whether you're in Tokyo or you're in Texas, you know exactly what you're going to get from a McDonald's. Lessons to take home and use in your own businesses: build systems at scale and look for hidden value in your business model, just like McDonald's did by focusing on real estate. A little anecdote, Kroc famously said, "I didn't invent the hamburger, I just took it more seriously than anyone else." And it's that relentless focus that's turned McDonald's into the household name it is today. Company number eight, Standard Oil. Now, you may never have heard of this one, but in its day, it was absolutely enormous. John D. Rockefeller, someone you probably have heard of, founded Standard Oil, and he built one of the first major business empires in the United States. And at its peak, Standard Oil controlled 90% of the oil refining business in America, which made Rockefeller the wealthiest man in modern history. What were some of its keys to success? Number one, vertical integration. Rockefeller controlled every part of the oil supply chain, from drilling to refining to distribution. Number two, cost cutting. He was a ruthless cost cutter, and he found ways to reduce production costs, allowing him to undercut the competition. And number three, aggressive expansion. Standard Oil grew by acquiring smaller competitors and consolidating the industry. Lessons for your businesses: efficiency and controlling your supply chain can make you a dominant player, but always remember to stay ethical, otherwise you're risking regulation. Standard Oil was actually ended as we knew it by the government when it was broken up in 1911. But when that happened, Rockefeller's wealth actually increased because he owned shares in the newly formed companies like ExxonMobil and Chevron. I mean, talk about turning lemons into lemonade. Company number nine, Google. Now, Google actually began as a research project by two Stanford PhD students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who developed a better way to rank search engine results. And today, it's the world's most visited website and a cornerstone of the internet. What are some of Google's keys to success? Number one, superior technology. Google's PageRank algorithm revolutionized search, making it faster and more relevant than all its competition. Number two, free services, paid ads. By offering free tools like Gmail, Google Maps, and YouTube, Google's attracted billions of users, but it then monetizes those users through targeted ads with Google Ads. Number three, continuous innovation. Google isn't just a search engine anymore. It's a leader in AI, in cloud computing, autonomous vehicles, and many, many more things. So what's the lesson that you can use in your business? Solve big problems and build a business model that scales. Larry Page once said, if we were motivated by money, we'd have sold Google and ended up on a beach. But instead, they turned it into one of the world's most influential companies. And finally, company number 10, a company that's touched everyone of all ages all around the world, Disney. Walt Disney started with a dream and a mouse. And from humble beginnings as an animator, he created an empire that spans movies, theme parks, and now streaming with Disney+. Disney's more than just a company, it's a cultural icon. And what are some of its keys to success? Number one, storytelling. Disney has absolutely mastered the art of creating stories that resonate across generations. Number two, diversification. From merchandise to theme parks to Disney+, the company generates revenue from multiple different streams. And number three, acquisitions. They've bought Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and 21st Century Fox, and all of these have expanded Disney's influence in entertainment. So what's the lesson that you can take home and use in your businesses? Create emotional connections with your audience and diversify to stay relevant. When Walt Disney originally pitched Disneyland to his investors, many thought he was absolutely insane. But today, these parks are one of the most profitable parts of the company. That goes to prove that a bold vision really can pay off. So there you have it, the 10 most successful businesses of all time. From the East India Company to Disney. These companies didn't just create products or services, they changed the way we live. And the lessons are clear. Be innovative, think long term, and focus on your customers, and never ever be afraid to scale big. Which of these businesses inspired you the most? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's ready to build their empire. And until next time, keep dreaming big, but executing bigger.
Hey, Matt here. Just interrupting myself quickly to say thank you for listening to No Bollocks. But did you also know I've got another podcast, Stripping Off with Matt Haycox? Very different. No Bollocks is the quick daily business tactics that you need. But Stripping Off, we go deep, deep, deep with a CEO, with a celebrity, with an athlete, with just an international, inspiring character. We find out what makes them tick, we find out how they got to where they got to, and we find out how you can learn and benefit from them too. So jump on over to Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you listen to your content, and I'll see you on a future episode.